makes him more powerful, but he does lose his physical body. 8th sense is a plot point.
2, 1, go.
All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. This is the FireRed LeafGreen any percent race featuring Ananan and Main. I'm the Math Genius, and with me is Wave Warrior.
Hi, I'm Wave Warrior.
And yeah, this is going to be about a 2-ish, a little more than 2-hour-ish race. So yeah, everyone, buckle up your seats and hopefully prepare yourself for a good time.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
This category has been extremely competitive recently. We recently finished up a tournament category. It was very fun. And now we're going to get to watch two of the best runners of this game show what they can do.
Yeah, so the intro here, not particularly interesting. I guess the things to note are just they're naming themselves and their rival one character. Text in this game prints at 1 character per frame, and the game runs at 60 frames per second. So the less text that needs to be printed, because the name gets printed a lot, the more time that they can save.
Yeah, you're also going to see them nickname their Squirtle one character for the same reason. That one's the most important because Squirtle's name gets printed hundreds of times. So it saves a lot of time to name it one character. The route for this game is we pick up Squirtle and we main that for the entire run. That is the only Pokemon we use for battles for the entire run. At the start of the run, you saw them check their ID. That is to tell them the RNG seed they're on to try to hit a RNG Manip Squirtle. Unfortunately, in a race setting, that Manip is not consistent. It's only about 10 to 15% to work at best, if you're really good at it. So you'll see our runners here reset and load a pre-saved file with a successful RNG Manip Squirtle.
Yeah, and that's Squirtle's, and that the reason the Manip can be really finicky is because restrictions on the stats that runners will take is very strict. Specifically, runners will only use a plus special attack nature with pretty much perfect IV special attack, and there are also some relatively strict speed requirements, and also stats in the IVs and your other stats, HP, attack, defenses, and whatnot, can also be really helpful in making the route a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, in Pokemon, IVs are basically internal stats for each of the 6 base stats: HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed. They range from 0 to 31, and the higher the number is, the better your stat is. And also, natures are something also internal to each Pokemon. That gives a plus 10% boost to one stat and a minus 10% to a different stat. So we run plus special attack that is required. We also need at least 30 IV, which is the second best, so we need either 30 or 31. And yes, speed needs to be very good. You want good stats on your Squirtle. It's very restricted. Well below 1% for a Squirtle to be runnable if you're just like hitting random Squirtles.
Yeah, so as y'all saw on the rival fight, it's relatively straightforward. Try to hope not to lose. You need to win the fight because you need the Bulbasaur experience to make the route viable. And now, yeah, we see the runners going for some experience. at minimum, runners need to get 1 wild's worth of experience to get a couple important level thresholds within the first couple of fights. Sometimes, actually, we'll see what they end up doing. But yeah,
you'll see main here kill a second encounter on Route 1. That makes a couple early game fights a lot safer. Well, there's 4-shotting a rat, which is unfortunate. That almost always 3 shots.
Yeah, so on top of Wave introduced the concept of IVs a little bit earlier. Throughout the run, Squirtle will also be collecting something called effort values, or EVs for short. Essentially, defeating certain types of Pokemon will give a certain small boost in a specific stat. So Rattata and Pidgey each give 1 speed EV, and in general, the conversion is that if you can collect 4 EVs, it essentially behaves like adding 1 to the IV. So if Squirtle started with 29 IV speed and collects 4 speed EVs throughout the run, then the Squirtle can essentially be treated as if it had 30 IV speed. So those EVs are important, and being able to collect more speed EVs on Route 1 is one of the factors that runners consider when they decide whether to only get 1 wild's worth of experience, or get 2 wild's worth of experience and get bubble as well.
If we're gonna look at Ananan right now. He is going to catch this Rattata. You need to catch 2 additional Pokemon for HM usage throughout the run. You need to catch something for Cut and something for Fly. Route 1 is 50% to get a Rat, which can learn Cut for us. If you don't get both on Route 1, there are other things you can get on Route 3 or 4 to get those things. So you'll see that later. Right now, Ananan is getting his Cutter by catching Rat, and we'll see Main get his Flyer by catching his Pidgey.
As long as he doesn't crit. Alright.
Well, yeah, there.
Yeah, so Ananan got through his second pass of Route 1 with just his Cutter. So later on, after defeating Brock in Route 3, he'll need to run around in the grass to look for either a Pidgey or a Spearow.
Really quickly, I'm just going to talk about how random encounters work in this game. So in most other Pokemon games, the way it works is once you get an encounter, you have a certain number of immunity tiles, somewhere between 2 and 4 generally, where you can't get another encounter. This game's actually different. In this game, you get somewhere between 6 and 8 tiles, depending on the area, where your encounter chance is 1%. And then every tile after that without an encounter slowly ramps up the encounter chance. So it's both a blessing and a curse. You get a more consistent number of encounters in this game compared to other ones where sometimes with like a static encounter rate it can be more varied. But that can also mean sometimes it's hard to get one of those crazy runs where you get no encounters. Although in general, getting consistent encounter luck in the early game helps with resetting. This game actually very rarely resets to early game random encounters, which is something that is very common in other Pokemon games.
Yeah, so you see the runners just walking through Viridian Forest. Can't buy repels yet, so you just kind of have to take the encounters as they come. And Hopefully the runners don't encounter it, but there is a 1% chance that 1% chance that the encounter is a level 5 Pikachu, which outspeeds you and does more than half your health with Thundershock. So it can be a bit of a nightmare if they don't, if they encounter it and can't win. Oh no! I cursed.
He's only level 6. If you're level 7, you have higher speed, and so you're more likely to be able to run away. Oh no!
It does so
It's
much!
actually happening!
Oh my god, I can't believe it.
Okay, he got away.
Oh, okay. Alright, so I think he's gonna need to pick up the second force potion here.
You've seen these runners pick up an antidote earlier.
Oh
and they're
my
picking up
goodness.
a couple potions. Coming up is the Sammy fight, which sucks. It's just a level 9 Weedle, but it can hurt. And the way crits work in this game is a bit weird. On this Weedle, a crit roll does like almost 3 times as much as a standard roll, just due to weird rounding shenanigans. So it's awkward to play around. No way!
I swear. Okay, he doesn't get
Yeah.
poisoned.
He would have died. Yeah, a standard poison signal is 3, and most crits do 8.
Yeah, and so Main is starting. Yeah, Main is starting the Sammy fight, and because he has Bubble, he will save a turn potentially. He will save a turn potentially too. Getting poisoned. We see both runners get poisoned. Getting poisoned is actually good. The reason itself is relatively long-winded, but in short, being at low HP allows runners to basically maintain what's called Torrent, and so Torrent is the Squirtle line's ability, where if Squirtle is at 1/3 of its max HP or less, water moves will do 50% more damage than normal. So in a kind of in a speedrunning context, being able to have that extra damage is almost always worth the risk of being at lower HPs. So in Brock's gym alone, having the optimal HP saves about 30 to 45 seconds compared to entering the gym at full.
Yeah, it saves like 4 turns minimum. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that concept carries into Route 3 immediately after Brock's gym, where runners can save another 30 seconds for having full Torrent, compared to leaving the fight with mid or even mid or especially full HP.
Yeah, so you saw the runners after that fight walk and let the poison slowly tick their health down, with just the screen getting all wiggly, until they were at the perfect health for this gym. To let them keep Torrent throughout it. And so like this Geodude is a 1-shot with Torrent, it's a 2-shot without it. The Sandshrew in general is a 2-shot with Torrent, a 3 or 4-shot without it. Low rolled his first sample and got scratched. Oh, he's healing.
Yeah, and so with how aggressive runners try to be with Torrent, you see they save for this fight because they're entering the fight with low HP, and Sandshrew will do 5 to 7, but it'll do half Squirtle's health with a crit. So for the first couple of fights, because we're so under leveled at this point, saving is essential to just get through the first split.
We should mention this guy, the person we just fought, was technically an optional trainer. We could have went around him, but he gives like 2.5 levels worth of experience for a 3 to 4 turn fight generally. And you need those levels for Brock and everything coming after. We're gonna fight another optional trainer in Moon again for experience. We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, it's when later in the run when we have more options and that we can work with, the runners will play more safely. But in the early game, you just need Torrent for this section. So
Main getting a little unlucky with the speed drop. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, you want to take damage from this Onyx generally to be at lower health for Route 3. But because he speed dropped, the Onyx was guaranteed to use Rock Tomb next, which he wouldn't have been able to. He would have died to it basically. So he couldn't stall to take any damage. You'll often see runners stall in this fight and try to take damage.
Yeah, so ideally, runners leave the fight. Runner Squirtle kills Onyx with between 5 to 7 HP. That's generally the kind of the ideal HP range that you want to leave with. Main and Ananan obviously left with slightly higher HP than that. So to be able to one-shot all the bugs that they're going to fight on Route 3, they will need to stall a couple of turns.
Yeah, Torrent saved 5 or 6 turns on these next 3 fights, and so you generally try to stall on Onyx to get as low health as possible, so that you keep full Torrent for it. In a race setting, that's obviously a bit risky, because every turn you're stalling is a turn where you can get crit and reset you back to the start of the fight. But
yeah, so here, I actually don't know if Main sold Rock Tomb, but here we see, we're starting to see the first difference that we're seeing in two routes here. So Ananan and Main are doing 2 slightly different versions. We'll have 2 slightly different versions of the mid game. So Ananan is going to be skipping skipping a shock later on, so he needed to buy 7 repels, whereas Main only needed to buy 4. Among other small things, but we'll start to see when the time comes, those route differences will be explained, and we'll see kind of how those differences manifest themselves.
here we'll already get to see the power of Torrent. And already caught up because he was able to one-shot the first Caterpie while Main had to 2-shot, and he got string shots, now he's slower than everything. That's an unfortunate string shot there. Oh no, he keeps it for level 14.
Yep.
Unfortunate string shot from Ananan. He's stalling to try to take a bit more damage to keep Torrent for levels 14 and 15. And
oh, crits tackle, wow.
yeah, sometimes the game just decides, you know what, I'm not going to damage you right now.
So Main, I think he only has a Pidgey. So
Yes.
instead of, whereas Ananan will be catching a bird on Route 3, Main will actually be trying to catch a cutter in Route 4 after Mount Moon. So I guess while they're basically one-shotting everything, we can kind of explain the minor version differences here. So both Ananan and Main are running on LeafGreen, but the category supports both FireRed and LeafGreen, and the route is 99% of the route is the same between the 2 games. The only difference is that LeafGreen has a second cutter option in Route 4 in Sandshrew, whereas the version exclusive in FireRed is Ekans, which can't learn Cut. And Sandshrew, on top of learning Cut, can also learn Strength, which it will eventually be required to teach to get through Victory Road. But if you don't catch a Sandshrew, if you catch like a Rattata, for example, then in Victory Road, you end up just teaching Strength to Blastoise, because we only need 3 moves for the Elite Four.
Yeah. I believe both these runners are using LeafGreen. in this race, which is the technically more optimal one because of Sandshrew. But FireRed is, like we said, it's the differences between them are way more minor than version differences that have appeared in, you know, other popular speedrun categories that are still in the same category. So we'll see here Ananan, interesting movement, trying to catch a bird. This route has both Spearow and Pidgey. It's about a 65% to find one of them. So it's optimal to stall in this grass if you still need a flyer. In Route 4 after Mount Moon, I believe it's also 65%. It's either 60 or 65% for a cutter between
60.
Rat and Sandshrew. It's 60? Alright.
Earlier we saw Main pick up the Prismberry. That Prism is really useful for getting a safer Misty fight, because both of Misty's Pokemon know Water Pulse, which has a 20% chance to confuse. And yeah, that can be very messy to deal with. So in a race setting, picking up the Prism is almost always recommended.
Yep. Here, you just saw Main pick up the Revive, which is a safety thing that is extremely powerful in this route. And then he's fighting an optional Rocket right here. We need to fight one more optional trainer in order to get level 18 by the end of Mount Moon, and that sets us up perfectly for Misty. So there are 4 options for optional trainers in Moon. Ananan is fighting Hiker right here, which is the slowest, but also the safest. There's this Rocket, which is the fastest, if it works, but by far the riskiest. There's a Bug Catcher, which is only good if you're in Torrent. And there's a youngster, we just call him Josh, because he's named Youngster Josh, who is kind of in the middle. He's not really used in a race setting, because he's both risky and not the best. But he's done very often in record attempts, because he's good for taking damage on if you need it.
Yeah, and also, I introduced EVs earlier. Josh gives 3 speed EVs, which in some situations can be actually really useful. So that is one of the big appeals for choosing Josh as the Moon optional. But in a race setting where it's a little bit less important, where the speed EVs are generally a little bit less important, in a race setting, the runners will generally try to choose one of the other 3 options that Wave mentioned.
You want to keep Torrent for Moon as well. Again, this entire section, Torrent just saves, you know, a turn on this Pokemon, a turn on this Pokemon. It adds up very fast.
Yeah, especially because Squirtle is this split is just Squirtle using Water Gun 20 times.
Yeah, almost exclusively.
Yeah, so
yeah, oh, I got hardened on this Grimer. This Grimer is very scary. Not very scary, but he is scary when you're in Torrent. Poison Gas is very annoying. And he also has Disable, which is also very annoying. Not being able to use Water Gun.
there's Ananan's Torrent.
Yep.
So one nice thing about fighting the Hiker is that you get 17 before the Super Nerd fight. Main didn't get that threshold. Because Ananan has both of his catches, what he can do now is that he can candy to level 18 if he's still in Torrent, and it makes the Super Nerd fight pretty much trivial.
Yep.
So what used to be damage ranges, which we'll kind of cover what damage ranges mean in a second, but what would potentially lose time to not being able to hit damage ranges, those ranges just no longer exist. So you will almost always get a 4-turn fight.
And yeah, the standard fight is usually around a 5-turn fight, but you can get some very unlucky outcomes.
Yeah.
And we're teaching Mega Kick here on main screen, which, oh boy,
Mega Kick is a fun move.
It's very fun. Mega Kick is a 120 base power, 75% accurate move. So it hits really hard when it chooses to hit.
And you only have 5 chances.
Yeah, it only has 5 PP. So unfortunately, there just isn't a better option for our Squirtle for move to teach. As is, you might expect, the biggest struggle for our water type is grass types. There aren't a lot of electric types in this run, although we'll see some later. The main problem is Oddish, because Oddish is extremely bulky and resists our water type moves, which are our strongest moves. And so the only move that kills basically every Oddish in the entire game is Mega Kick. That's the only move that Squirtle can get that one-shots Oddishes. And it is very fun when Mega Kick decides to miss on an Oddish, let me tell you.
Because generally, like, the grass types that we need a Mega Kick on generally favors status type moves, like Poison Powder, Sleep Powder, Stun Spore, very, very fun moves like that. So if you miss a Mega Kick, most of the time you're losing 2 turns instead of just the 1 from the miss, because you have most of the time you're getting status and you'd have to heal it off before trying to kick again.
Yeah. Luckily, the AI knows not to use a status move if you're already statused, so you can't just get, like, status locked by constantly healing it off and then getting it. Although if you miss another Mega Kick, then you will get statused again generally. So that's very fun.
Yeah, so we saw Ananan choosing to take the center instead of whereas main, before catching his cutter in Route 4, choosing to just use a bunch of potions. The main reason is because they had slightly different shops. Main ended up with like 13 potions, where Ananan only had 7. And potions are pretty important to keep, so Ananan just chose to sacrifice a little bit of time to be able to keep as many potions as possible for a later part of the run.
Yeah. Misty Fight, the way it works is you fight a lot. Both of them are ranges. The Staryu range is very favored. The Starmie range is kind of bad. The 2-shot. So you saw main there use Tackle on the Starmie. If you miss getting the 2-shot on the Starmie, it heals the full, basically. So if you see that your first roll isn't good enough, that you don't think it'll kill on the second bite, you just do a little bit of damage with Tackle to keep it out of heal range, and then finish it off.
And now we're about to see one of the biggest reasons why Squirtle is the best starter for the run. Right after defeating Misty, you get Water Pulse, which is just Water Gun, but 50% stronger, and it can confuse. So I guess now, yeah, we teach Water Pulse right away because it's such a powerful move.
It's our main move for like half the run.
Yeah, and Water Pulse carries Squirtle through the Nugget Bridge segment. I guess, yeah, Rival 2. Right before we cover Rival 2 here, I want to quickly go over damage ranges. We kind of sprinkled the term around here and there. So in Pokemon, damage doesn't always do a set amount. It actually does anywhere between, in Gen 3, it does anywhere between 85% and 100% of its calculated base damage. So are 16 total damage. There's 16 total damage rolls that a move will do. And when we say range, when we say something is like a 9 and 16 range, that means 9 of the 16 damage rolls, without not considering a crit, will kill the opposing Pokemon in one shot.
So Main got a great fight there. You don't one-shot the Bulbasaur, so you do Bite plus Mega Kick to kill it. Let's see what Ananan gets. Mega Kick.
Wow,
Hits.
that's two extremely good rival fights.
Ananan got Sand Attack.
Oh, he got Sand. Okay. Well, didn't get Leech Seed.
Yeah.
Didn't die.
This, Bulbasaur. There are two banes of Squirtle's existence: Bulbasaur and Oddish. They're both pretty bulky, and they hurt, and they use status moves. You learn to hate Mega Kick in this game, because almost every time Mega Kick misses, you're losing a lot of time. And you have to use so many Mega Kicks in this run. It's like 14, 13 or so. But yeah, they both got through. That you can easily die to Bridge Rival if you miss Mega Kick. And if you don't die, you can easily lose a minute. So soon you'll both get through with relatively clean fights. Sand Attack sucks, but not the worst thing that can happen on that fight.
And your reward for defeating Rival 2 is 9 minutes of very uninteresting fights. You one
Except
shot.
for Mega Kicks.
Yeah, there are three Mega Kicks, 3 more Mega Kicks you need to hit, but besides that, you just one shot everything.
Main's not healing here.
He might heal on the Oddish.
Maybe.
One of the things, one of the main reasons why Rival 2 is also scary because the Cerulean Mart is really far out of the way. You can buy super potions there, and it would technically make the rival fight safer, but that would be the only use for the super potions up until the next available mart. And because it's so far out of the way, we opt to just invest in a bunch of potions and just delay going to a mart until Vermilion for Main and all the way to Lavender Town actually for Ananan.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way it works, the rival has kill AI, which means if he sees that Vine Whip will kill you, he will only use Vine Whip. There's nothing else he can use. And Vine Whip does nearly 20 damage, and potions heal for 20. So you basically get heal looped if you're ever at bad HP and want to try to heal it off. You need to use so many potions if you want to play it safe. It's not viable. So oftentimes you just have to kick for your life there, and if you miss, you die. You have no other options.
Yeah, one of the nice things on Nugget Bridge is that Torrent. This is one of the few places where Torrent just does not matter. Mm-hmm. Ananan has like half HP. You can just use Water Pulse and one-shot it. You don't really need to sweat losing turn, trying to stall for corner or anything like that. At least in the immediate meantime.
If you center heal to refresh all your water guns and then get Torrent, you can water gun everything from Torrent, and that saves not insignificant time in terms of printing out water gun, which is Water Pulse. Almost a second, I think. But, kind of whatever. Yeah, Nugget Bridge is the boring part of the run, so to speak. Aside from that Oddish and 2 more Oddishes coming up, you just one-shot everything.
So the two runners are actually pretty much neck and neck.
They're neck and neck, yeah.
after about half an hour, they both nothing really bad has happened yet.
Nothing catastrophic. Well, Ananan had one of the forests of all time. But,
yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah, you got that level 5 too.
Coming out, there's actually a choice between two trainers you can fight. There's a hiker with an Onyx, and there's a hiker with an Machop and Geodude. Common logic states fight the one with only one Pokemon instead of two. That's what main will do, but on Anaman's route, there is actually merit to fighting the other hiker with two Pokemon instead. But I don't think he'll do that in this situation, unless he has really bad attack. Picking up an elixir here. We need a lot of PP restoring items for this route. We get 2 elixirs, an ether, and an X elixir. Something like that. Centering slow.
Yeah. Also, you want to maintain Thorn, so you don't really want to heal your HP. So after this fight, I think we saw Main and Ananan start the fight on 2 different tiles. So I think they're going to demonstrate 2 different passes that you can do. The one Main just did is 1 in 6 is a sort of a YOLO where Dan is 1 in 6 going to hit you, but that spinner that they both just passed only has a single slowpoke, which you can one shot with bite. So even if you get seen, it's only like 28 seconds lost or something. Ananan did a slightly different pass. Started the setup from one tile to the left and opened up the start menu to align with the spinner spin cycle. So if Dan hadn't turned to look left yet, he can't look left while Ananan did his fancy little pass.
We'll just explain spinners a little bit for those who don't know. There are some trainers in the game who spin around semi-randomly, and if they see you, you have to fight them. Obviously, being a speedrun, we don't want to fight them. So we have various strats to avoid fighting them consistently. There is a easy 100% consistent strategy to dodge every spinner in the game, and that's walk to one tile before them, open and close your bag, and then walk past them. That works for every spinner, but it's also the slowest option. So we try to avoid doing that unless we absolutely have to, and we instead take advantage of internal mechanics on like the timers for spinners to make sure that they can't see us.
Ananan just missed 2 Mega Kicks.
Oh, that's fun.
It's a fun move.
Oh, and Main missed the Mega Kick. Yeah. Mega Kick. It's a move. Oh, Main missed 2 Mega Kicks. It's certainly a move.
And Ananan is out of kicks, so actually no, he can water pulse this auto.
Yeah, he's in Torrent, so it's a 6 and 16 range to kill, which he got. It's around 40-ish%. Ether. We need our Mega Kicks back. We're still using that move. This section of the run is just Mega Kick the run, pretty much.
You see Ananan skip the ether there. This is another mid-game route difference. So I guess now that that difference is starting to approach, we'll explain it a little bit while they're going through the build cutscene and the dig rocket. So Main is doing the world record early surge route where you fight Surge immediately after fighting the SSN rival. Whereas Ananan will be choosing to delay Surge until after completing the Pokemon Flute segment. Actually, no, after getting the Silph Scope.
Yeah, Rocket Hideout.
Yeah, and so because Ananan is doing one of the main differences we already saw was the differences in the pewter mart buys. Another difference here is that Ananan will actually be choosing to heal on the boat before the boat rival fight. Main will be doing it after. It's a little bit more optimal to do it after, but because Ananan is skipping the Vermilion Mart, he will still have no super potions to heal during the boat rival fight, whereas Main will go to the Vermilion Mart to buy super potions. So with the ether to heal, to replenish his mega kicks, he can choose to fight boat rival and then heal before surge. And the boat heal is necessary to replenish power points, especially for Main, who didn't get the water gun, his water guns replenished from the Cerulean Center. So at this point, you basically have no moves left once you defeat boat rival. So the boat heal is really convenient in that it's faster than taking a center, and it's not very far out of the way.
Yeah. Surge, if you do it early, is by far, maybe not by far, but it's the riskiest fight in the run. Because Raichu is faster than you and he hurts. And also uses double team. And it's hard to kill. It's a very risky fight. If you delay it, Surge, until after the rocket hideout section, the route difference is you lose about 45 seconds-ish. But Surge becomes a completely free fight. So that's the trade-off.
Yeah. And so if you generally, one Surge death makes the routes essentially equivalent on that part.
And Raichu's like 30 to 40%. It is a rough fight.
One other caveat is that you saw Ananan not pick up the candy that Main picked up on Route 6 before fighting that camper. Main will be using that candy immediately, whereas because Ananan doesn't get the experience from Surge until a little bit later, he actually needs to he'll actually pick up the candy later and use it in about 20 to 25 minutes to make the candy give a little bit more extra experience.
Surge's gym gives roughly 1 level worth of experience. Roughly. Maybe more like 3/4 of a level. So because both of them are going to try to get level 36 at the exact same point, but because Ananan doesn't have the surge experience, he needs to delay his candy until later. Because if you think about it, candy always gives you the remainder of an experience for a full level. So the later you candy, the more experience the rare candy gives you. So he delays his candy and as late as possible in order to make that work. Whereas because Main is doing early surge, he has that extra bit of experience. So he can afford to candy earlier and get some better stuff for this section of the game.
Ananan actually getting
You got poison powder.
no flinch, no sand attack, no leech seed. Interesting decision to kick there, actually.
I guess he's gonna let the poison tick. Like, he'll just run around and let it tick down.
I would have thought he would have tried to save the kick for to delay rock tunnel, but he doesn't need to do that.
He probably used Bite on Ivysaur since he had really good time.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be better to save the Mega Kick for a later point, but I realized that for Tower Rival he'll be level 37, so he'll be a higher level than normal. So keeping kicks is a little bit less crucial.
Yeah, both of them got very good both fights. This fight is awful. Ivysaur, you have to hit a kick on it. It uses Sleep Powder, it uses Leech Seed, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, if you're not in Torrent, you also have to Mega Kick to Eradicate. Yeah, Ananan's gonna let the poison tick all the way down to around low 20s, I would say.
Yeah.
because
Sorry, continue.
yeah, because he's going through the this next segment, Route 9, Rock Tunnel, and the Rocket Hideout at a slightly lower level than main is. Torrent becomes a little bit more important than normal to be able to deal a little bit more damage. Without Torrent, some of the mons that would usually die at a higher level become ranges or just don't die at all without Torrent. So
Yeah, because he's delaying Surge and a rare candy, Anan's going to be somewhere between 1.5 and 2 levels lower. About 2 levels lower for all of Rock Tunnel compared to main. And yeah, that makes Torrent immensely valuable because you need that extra 50% damage for a lot of stuff. A lot of this category is managing Torrent. For later game stuff, there are sections where Torrent is mandatory. And so we do strategies to set that up. You need your health to be low enough to be in Torrent, but high enough that you don't die to things. And that can be a very narrow edge to walk sometimes. So here we see main in Surge's gym. Cans is a very well-designed puzzle, and it's so much fun. The way it works is the first switch is placed randomly in any of these cans, and then once you find the first switch, then it places the second switch randomly in one of the adjacent cans. That's an unfortunate can. So after finding that first one, there are 4 possible cans the second one can be in. If you guess wrong, it resets the puzzle. Oh, we got lucky first try. So you save there to
essentially
in case
lock
you guess
in the
wrong,
point.
you just reset and you get back to the same point. Rather than having to find another first switch and start over. And on screen, he just got the bicycle, which is a very nice item.
Bike go fast.
Yep. It moves a little less than 3 times faster than running, right? No, sorry, I'm saying that wrong.
It's like 30% faster.
Yeah, sorry. It's a little less than 3 times faster than walking, about 30% faster than running.
Or mega kicks.
Yep. Oh, we got the Bellsprout range. That's a range because he's a low level.
Water pulse in Torrent is not a range.
Oh,
it's a range
Torrent.
Bite. Yeah. Main will bite that Bellsprout because you'll be level 28, which makes that makes bite on that first Bellsprout guaranteed.
Alright, here's the Raichu. The way this fight generally works, is he will double team until you hit a water pulse, and then he will shockwave. Sometimes
Wow, double team into Thunder Wave.
Alright, so now he will shockwave.
Ooh,
Okay,
you got the confused? Will he hit the kick?
Confused. So because Raichu's confused, the AI spends a turn.
Oh my god. What a
Nice.
fight.
So a lot happens there. The way the AI works with confusion is if it gets confused, it will spend a turn full healing, and that's really good because if he's spending a turn full healing, he's not using Shockwave. So it's basically an extra turn for you to hit a kick. In that situation, Main was paralyzed. The Raichu had +1 evasion, and he had to hit Mega Kick, which is only 75% accurate at base. So when you stack all that together, that's like 40% to hit that kick, and he did it. Yeah, Surge, you can see why early Surge is,
There's so many ways that, early Surge can just cause a lot of pain. But you could just, hit the kick.
Yes, just hit the kick.
Be like Main.
You missed Water Pulse. Imagine missing your first Water Pulse and still getting a good fight. I mean, I would definitely qualify that as a good fight.
That was a very good fight considering all the things that happened. There was only, 1 extra turn anyway.
So now, it's going to look like Anan's ahead here, but again, that's because he hasn't fought Surge yet. So after the Rocket Hideout section, he's going to go back and fight Surge, and that's when the routes will resync. Basically, Ananan will have a little bit more experience for later game stuff because he's delaying Surge until later. But that only matters in like one place, really. Koga. Which, to be fair, that's an important place for it to matter. We'll talk about Koga when we get there. But yeah.
Yeah, so in Rock Tunnel, for the most part, it's largely just about hitting your kicks and doing the movement. You're doing the movement fully in the dark because getting flash and teaching flash is really slow.
Game expects you to use flash, but we get around that by being really smart and knowing what the cave looks like.
Yeah, we kind of cheated. So yeah, and so there are 2 to 3 kicks you generally need to hit in the Rock Tunnel segment, add on to the 2 that you need for Alicia, which was the first picnicker on Route 9.
The one who main is currently on.
Yes. Speaking of, yeah.
And remember,
Ananan
Ananan was level 27 here, and main is 29 right now.
So the fact that he's full HP, because he has some experience in higher level, it matters a little bit less kind of in this immediate time frame, but there will be some considerations that main will need to make to try and take damage for a later segment. But for now, not really sweating all that much.
Does main not know that run to bike?
He does, but in a race setting, he probably just opted to.
He doesn't want to math genius it?
Yeah, he doesn't want to math genius that run a bike.
Ananan is on Martha, who is a very fun fight.
Yeah, two relatively high level grass types.
Razor Leaf crit. Razor Leaf's a high crit rate move, which means it crits 1/8 instead of 1 in 16. And it hurts.
One of the primary fights that the Revive has picked up for.
Yeah, this is arguably the best fight for the Revive, or like this is the fight you really want to have your Revive for. A combination of high chance to die and really annoying to try to heal around it to play it safe. Wow, he just cannot hit this kick. There's no way he dies again, right? Oh god. Oh, he's going for it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he saved before Martha.
Oh, he saved.
And you know, he also demonstrated why saving is necessary for this fight if you have good torrent. Yeah, so Ananan's running, he only has 2 kicks left. He only needs to hit 1 more. And so as long as he hits 1 of the next 2, he should be okay on his kick count. He doesn't need to hit any more kicks after this segment. I think his HP is fine for that.
So now we'll see main come up on the main's fight is a little different because he's level 30. He can mega kick the first oddish, and oh wait, he might be modest. Oh, he's on. I thought he was on this level. Next fight. If he's modest, he'll probably double bite the oddish because the range sucks with mega kick. Modest is a nature that's plus special attack minus attack.
Yeah, so Mega Kick really does significantly less damage on the Oddish most of the time it will live. The nice thing about being able to double bite is that you don't have to use Mega Kick.
Yeah. But if Mega Kick hits and kills, then you save a turn. So,
yeah.
You know. Trade off. I would probably double bite here, honestly.
Yeah, one of the considerations main needs to make now also is that so kind of looking ahead to the Lavender rival fight, there are two primary strats. One involves one involves hitting using an X attack for Mega Kick, and which makes the Mega Kick 99% accurate instead of 75.
Use an X
X attack and an X attack, yes. And the other option is to use X specials and use like bites and water pulses. With Main's route, because he's only level 36 for that fight, the X special fight is a little bit risky because when you're in Torrent, even when you're in Torrent, at best the highest damaging move is only 13 and 16 to kill the Ivysaur, and those Razor Leaf, which will kill in Overgrow, which is Ivysaur's grass equivalent to Torrent. In Overgrow, Razor Leaf will wipe out Squirtle or Blastoise at that point. And so, being able to conserve kicks for a more consistent Mega Kick fight, which you shot everything with Mega Kick, after using an X attack and an X accuracy, being able to have spare Mega Kicks for that fight at level 36, can make for a much smoother Lavender Rival experience.
Yes.
For Ananan,
sorry, continue.
Yeah, sorry. For Ananan, because he'll be level 37 for that, because he's fighting Surge before entering the Lavender Rival fight, he'll actually be level 37 entering that fight, which means that what would normally be ranges at level 36 is just no longer a range. So the X special fight, the dangers of doing the X special fight just go away, and so having spare kicks for that fight is just much less necessary.
Mega Kick is a move. This Oddish and some previous Oddishes have 3 status moves and Sweet Scent. So it's actually very hard to die to them.
This is his last kick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, he hits it.
He only had to hit 2 kicks in here, and he had to use all 5 of them.
Yeah.
That is rough.
He missed two during the bill split too.
Yeah, like
That's
Mega Kick. It's fun. We would use Mega Punch if it was good enough, but it doesn't do enough damage to the Odishes, so...
Yeah, I missed 3 Mega Kicks during the bill split. You have to Water Pulse the second on.
Oh yeah.
Forgot about that. So yeah, that's 6 missed kicks. But fortunately, because he's in Torrent, that is his last move. The last 75% kick he'll have to hit for the remainder of the run. So he can breathe a little bit on that. So now he enters the Lavender Tower, Lavender Center Mart. Third tries the charm. The main reason he enters the Mart is for escape ropes and super repels, but you also saw that he bought
if you looked at main screen, he just walked past the spinner. The way spinners work is if you try to run past them, they will always try to look at you, and they'll see you. So a common strategy is you run to get them to look towards you, and then walk or bike past the way they're not looking. Those are called run to walks or run to bikes.
Yeah, you're basically running 1 to 2 tiles before them to basically force them to lock in a specific direction for a set amount of time, and within that time frame, in this case it's 32 frames or about half a second, main just needs to basically do anything but run past the spinner.
So now I go to the Rocket Hideout section. If you're not in Torrent, you have to kick this Eradicate, but in Torrent you can Water Pulse it.
Yeah, the Eradicate can be kind of annoying because it knows Scary Face, and the Zubat I think still knows Astonish. And I think after 1 or 2 scary faces, you're slower than that Zubat.
You're slower after 1.
Yeah.
At least speed tied, because I was at a run. My run yesterday was slower than it. After 1 scary face. Because Ananan's can be basically a full level lower for this entire Rocket Hideout section, Torrent is extremely valuable for him. Because without Torrent, there are like 4 separate ranges or something stupid. But only 3.
Yeah, he also one thing we didn't mention is that a lot of the times we will opt to not use super effective moves, or not use super effective moves if the normally effective move also kills, because the extra text of, oh, it's super effective or it's not very effective, loses a little more than a second. Yeah, I think FireRed experience like 1.2 or something. It might be closer to 2 at this point, but the less we get that text, obviously that saves time. But because Ananan is a lower level, he'll be forced to water gun. He'll be forced to water gun 1 or 2 Sandshrews that on main's EXP route you could potentially choose to bite.
And there's also some Ekans that are ranges out of Torrent, like guaranteed in Torrent. But for main's route, one of them's guaranteed out of Torrent, and the other one is super likely to die out of Torrent.
If he has 31 special attack IV, both of them are guaranteed.
Yeah. I don't know this one.
So he has. So the fact that, at best, pretty much, Ananan's Rocket Hideout in Torrent will go as well as main's Hideout at 75 HP. So that's how because he's lower level. That is one of the things that Ananan will miss out on because of the late surge route. It's like potential up to 1 turn and 1 super effective text usually, so it's about 10 seconds or so.
Axe Ether, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was there.
Crickets. Yeah, you saw Main and Ananan pick up the black glasses before the lift key. Before the lift key rocket here. The black glasses gives a 10% boost to bite. Dark moves in general, but in Squirtle's case, it'll make bite do more damage, which will specifically be useful for the last, I think for a couple of the last 5 fights in the run.
It's like Lorelei and Lance specifically.
Lorelei, Lance, and Viridian Rival. They're useful for now, but generally, as if they don't still have the Prism equipped, they just equip the black glasses now because it's just the most convenient time to do it.
Just how them both pick up a Moonstone in here. That's just because it's in our way. We need to go the way it's blocking. We toss that afterwards. I see that question sometimes. Why are you picking up a Moonstone? It's in our way.
I can't not do it. And so Ananan now, that rare candy that main used for Boat Rival, Ananan will be using that candy now. And so at this point, they once main finishes these 2 rockets, he'll be at level 34, and then he'll candy twice. And so at this point, their EXP will be lined up, but it'll soon die.
It'll desync immediately because Anan's going to go fight Surge. So Anan's going to have a little bit extra experience for the end game. That's the way it works out. Main needs to take some damage at some point. You need to be in Torrent or post Pokemon Tower. Pokemon Tower is the next section. So he's hoping to take some damage from Giovanni.
No, interesting play from Ananan to heal his Rattata. You have
Yeah,
to revive?
I assume he bought 2 revives. He's gonna pick up the forest or the safari one as well. So yes, that's one.
Yeah, so Giovanni, for the most part, isn't like a super scary fight. Giovanni, this iteration of Giovanni actually has...
By the way, vitamins are busted.
A couple of other options. I think he just realized that he needed extra money. I think there are a couple of faster options.
Yeah, no, he mentioned in chat during Giovanni they forgot to pick up the nugget. Wow, Main is just at 99 health. He needs to take like 70 damage.
Ideally, he takes about 50.
Okay, that's damage.
But I think he should be okay at this. There is a fun strat that you can do at this HP.
Oh, enlighten me.
Basically, you only usually if you do the X special strat, you would only X special once, X special twice to go for the range. Here you can. I don't know if Main will do it because he picked up the max ether. He might just stall on Gyarados anyway. But what he can do, like kind of the optimal strat from a high HP here, is that he can X special once, and then tank an Overgrow Razor Leaf from Ivysaur. That does about that does about 35. And on top of the Gyarados, and on top of the Gyarados Thrash you would normally take anyway. That plus the one setup turn from Pidgeotto, that'll do about 60. Ballpark, it'll be about 60, so that'll put him right around good HP for Tower.
Yeah, but he
Tower
got next attack, so.
Yeah. I think in a race setting, it's perfectly fine to just take this.
I mean, you can always just X-spec on Koga, I guess.
Yeah.
So right now, you're gonna see Ananan biking back to Surge. Surge is what lets you use Fly out of battle, which is another reason why you want to fight Surge early. You want to get access to Fly. But because he doesn't have it yet, he has to bike back there.
This movement right here is the primary time loss of the late Surge route.
Yep.
As Main will immediately fly to the Lavender Tower. Well, that's actually a really good quick attack. Being in Torrent means that being in Torrent means that he doesn't have to set up an X special or have to use a kick on Surge here.
both of them getting not good cams. Main is saving at 75 HP on kick strats.
I would do the same.
Interesting.
No, he also max ether, so he has 5 kicks.
Yeah.
It's like even if he misses a kick. To be fair, I think that's a fair play because saving for any fight where you need to be max.
I mean, it's definitely Omega safe. His run's not dying here. We got 3 hits from Vivioto. He just got 5 kick.
I think you'll have to stall twice on Gyarados. I think twice should be enough.
Right. This is the last place where kick gets used. After this, we don't use it anymore.
Yeah, and so we're seeing Ananan's very much less interesting search fight as a result of being a Blastoise.
Water gun, water pulse. And that's it.
Yep. Bye-bye. And so, you notice he also got level 37, where you can see main just leveling to 37 after the Gyarados. So, Torrent is... So, the reason why main stalled is because maintaining... It's important to leave the fight with, like, 20 to 25 HP, because it's important to maintain Torrent for not only this Lavender Tower segment, but also to carry that HP into the next gym we go into, which is Koga. So
30 should be fine for main.
Should be fine.
Is that at level 37? You get 3 levels.
Yeah. I think he had a high enough HP IV.
He has good HP IV,
yeah. So yeah, maintaining Torrent for Koga is essential because without Torrent, because Koga's mons are pretty much the same level as Blastoise, and because those mons do a lot of damage with Sludge.
And Sludge is 30% poison you.
And Sludge is 30% poison, and if it poisons, you're pretty much always dead because of the Torrent setup. You want to maintain a specific HP where you both tank Sludges so that Koga's kill AI doesn't just immediately go for it, even though it usually just does anyway, sadly. You also want to maintain Torrent so that you can two-shot the Muck and potentially be able to one-shot the Weavile.
Yeah, Koga is kind of a blemish on the route. You need Torrent for that fight to have any semblance of a good fight. But when you're that low health, it's really likely for Koga to kill you. So it's just unfortunate how it works out. A lot of runs die to Koga. Because of Ananan's route, he will actually have a much better chance of living Koga than main. Which is one of them, you know, Surge being a free fight and Koga being a lot less scary are insane benefits, which is why that route is often used for races.
Yeah, and the main reason, even though Ananan's only like half, I would say like half a level higher right now, what ends up happening is that half level ends up allowing you to get perfect like level lineups right before Koga, right before Blaine, and right before Erica's gym. That's just kind of how the EXP pans out.
Yeah.
So
candies work out very well.
Yeah. So he in the tower, in the top floor, pick up a candy, and also on the cycling road you pick up a candy. Those two candies can be used to make Blastoise a higher level for Koga, for example, where A, Muck and Weezing will do less damage, B, there are more HP options where you can set up a good torrent, and C, and arguably the most important one, is that because you're a higher level, Surf is doing more damage. So instead of a 6 and 16 range that main has no choice but to deal with, Ananan has a choice to go to level 42, where that range is now 11 and 16.
I'm pretty sure Ananan has good HP for that. He was pretty low.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. He's 22, 4 levels, that'll make it about 34. He had good defense, so that'll be more than 20 HP.
Yeah, not giving Weezing a turn is extremely good because it usually uses Sludge, and Sludge, if it poisons you, kills you. There's nothing you can do about it.
We haven't
even with maximum possible HP IV at and like the highest possible torrent you can have at level 42, which is the highest level you can be, you still die to Mineral Sludge plus Poison Tick.
Yep.
In torrent, so.
We haven't even started talking about the fact that Muck can use Minimize.
Yeah.
If you miss the second Surf, you get sludged anyway.
Yep. Muck chooses between Minimize, Acid Armor, and Sludge. Usually uses Minimize, and then if you miss, it usually uses Sludge. And then if it poisons, it kills you. It's a very fun fight.
Yeah, these fights on the other hand, you just one-shot everything.
Yeah.
Especially because you're in torrent, and you just use whatever's left over of your water moves.
Yeah.
You basically
on the Ananan's route, you actually have to kind of watch out to make sure you don't run out of moves. But
yeah, because you use a couple extra for Surge, that's right. This is, yeah, I mean, the fact that we don't have an elixir just yet, but we won't need one. Because one of the main reasons that we fight Koga so early is because it's basically right after picking up Surf in the Safari Zone. Surf hits hard. 95 base power, gets the same type attack bonus, which is a 50% damage boost to Surf, and then in Torrent it gets another 50% damage boost. So if you get Torrent Surf, so many things, it can just wipe out so many things, except Koga, unfortunately.
Kanto as a region is interesting in that you can basically fight Surge, Erica, Koga, Sabrina, and Blaine in any order you want. The only restriction is you have to fight Koga before Blaine, because you need Surf to get to Blaine. And so that makes routing interesting for what gyms to do. So after here, we have the choice between Erica, Koga, or Sabrina to fight as our next gym. Erica, we have no good moves for. And Sabrina, we are under-leveled for. So, kind of a process of elimination. Koga is the option there.
It's like the least of three evils at that point.
Yeah. We would fight Blaine if we could.
Yeah, and getting that special boost for the other gyms would be actually really helpful, but...
Oh yeah, there's something called badge boosts in these games. When you beat Brock, Surge, Koga, or Blaine, you get a 10% boost to one of your stats permanently for the rest of the game. It's really broken. So, if I remember right, Brock gives attack, Surge gives speed, Koga gives defense, and Blaine gives special attack. In Gen 1, that's bugged, actually, and Surge gives defense and Koga gives speed. Gen 1 is very fun.
So main's entering the Safari Zone. The primary purpose is just to pick up Surf and the Gold Teeth so that we can get Strength later.
There's also a
we won't be going
to pick up.
Yeah, the max revive. I don't think you have the repel steps for it.
No, there's a revive right
that's
before. the surf house.
Oh, right, yeah, that revive. Okay, that's true, that's true. Yeah, so you just repel. We're not interested in catching anything in any percent. Yeah, also the full restore that he picked up in Area 1, that'll be used, that'll be used before Viridian Rival. That is the only big heal he gets until the E4, so...
Yeah, and then before the Elite Four, we buy like 14 full restores.
Fun fact, if you hold down on the cycling road, you go faster.
Yep. It's always fun seeing people be like, what? I didn't know that. And when I say people, I mean like experienced runners.
Yep.
To be fair, in Gen 1, holding down does nothing. So, people coming from there might not know that. Anyway, here's Koga's gym.
And so instead of...
is busted for this gym.
Yep. Torrent Surf. You need Torrent Surf to get through the first juggler here. The Drowsies don't die unless you have Torrent. But, yeah, you notice that main flew out of the Safari Zone and instead of like pressing retire or running out of steps or anything like that. If you fly out, it automatically retires you, so you don't have to go through any extra text. It's also, instead of ending up in the Safari Zone entrance, you end up basically right in front of the gym entrance.
And so, Surf, a lot of Pokemon speedruns will main a water starter for a while. Very common thing. Surf is usually a large reason for that. Surf is a busted move that the game just always gives you, because every game has Surf until like, Gen 8 or whatever. It's an HM in all those games, and you usually need to teach Surf to beat the game anyway. But the fact that it's a good move also is very convenient.
That's a 95 base power, 15 power points.
Yep.
Very, very unbalanced. But,
and because we use a water type, it gets same type attack bonus or stab, so it does an extra 50%. And if we're in Torrent, it does another bonus 50%. It
hits hard.
It hits hard, it puts in work. It becomes our main move for the rest of the run. So here we get Koga.
Yeah. Surf is taught over Water Gun. We're out of Water Guns anyway. We don't, and we need. You could technically teach it over Mega Kick, but because Surf is our primary move, we want it in slot 1.
Yeah. We're gonna teach Blizzard over Mega Kick very soon. Also.
Yeah, Blizzard is Mega Kick was the initial way of dealing with grass types. Blizzard becomes the new way of dealing with grass types and Lance. So
I hope you enjoyed a 75% accurate move, so we're up to get a 70% one. Although, to be fair, oh wow, we crit the Muck. That's so good.
Yeah, remember when we said Muck might minimize an acid armor and you could lose a bunch of time the next turn? If you crit Muck, you don't have to deal with any of that.
Yep.
So, sweat a lot less. So all he has to worry about now is this 6 and 16 Weezing range.
Yeah.
And because he has revives and because he saved, it's many of the world record or PB attempts die to Koga, but in a race, he got
Bite
Toxic
Surf.
is fun.
Yeah, Bite Surf is fun. Yeah.
Toxic
is
is
rare.
Toxic is actually probably the best move. Smokescreen is
as top end, I guess.
yeah, but overall, I think Toxic is probably the move you want to see the most if you miss the range.
Yeah.
Because you didn't take the sludge damage, you don't die to the poison ticks if you Bite Surf right away. So
Also, the early ticks
also...
for Toxic just do less than standard
Yes.
poison.
I think it does less the first turn. Yeah.
Why are you taking ticks? What are you doing, man?
See, I actually don't hate that because he's lower HP, he can get Torrent for Erica. I don't mind him waiting for that a little bit. I just hope he didn't, just completely forget and then just,
Yeah. Okay, so Anan's on Muck. Minimize for
Level
any hit.
42. Yeah, so he's level 42. Sludge will do less, but you know the Muck situation is the same. You have to two-shot, usually the second one through a minimize. And so now he's doing with 11 and 16 range on Weezing instead of
Which
6.
is much better than a 6 and 16 range.
He gets it.
That's a very, very smooth Koga fight for both of them, pretty much.
And a lot of smart people have tried to come up with ways to make Koga, you know, not terrible. And this is the best option there is, which is late surge and be level 42 to get an 11 and 16 on Weezing. I thought that using the calcium that you can pick up in Rocket Hideout would help, and it makes it like a 12 and 16 or something. Like, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and also calcium causes some problems later on in the run.
Too much for something?
You do too much on Lapras.
Lapras.
Lorelai's Lapras.
Yeah.
You end up, after 2 bites, you end up putting it into heal range, and then...
And
because it no longer has...
3 specs wouldn't 3-shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then because it no longer has... Long story, we'll talk about Lorelai later on. Lorelai's a very annoying fight, so it'll get its own little commentary segment, but yeah, so now, after Koga, we fight Blaine, we go through the mansion to be able to unlock the gym.
Again, we would do Blaine before Koga if we could, because Blaine of the 4 that we have to fight before Giovanni is by far the easiest one for Blastoise to deal with for what I hope are fairly obvious reasons. But yeah, we need to beat Koga to be able to use Surf out of battle. So.
Yep. Saw main pick up Blizzard. So thankfully, unlike Mega Kick, for a lot of the critical fights where we use Blizzard, we have X accuracies to make those Blizzards 93% accurate after 1 X-Ack instead of the 70% accuracy initially. But in a race setting, I think some runners, if the runners have like enough spare extra X-Acks, they might just X-Ack twice, so they don't risk that 7% miss chance. Because in most cases, if you miss the 93% Blizzard, you're usually dying.
Yeah, that's the trade-off. Mega Kick is only 75% accurate most of the time, but if you miss it, most of the time you're just losing time. Blizzard is often 93% accurate, but a lot of the Blizzards, if you miss them, you just die. So, it's yeah. Pick your poison, I guess. Also, we do have to hit at least 1 full odds Blizzard, unless we do the safe Erica strat, which.
I think Ananan will do the safe Erica. Strat. Yeah. I don't know if HP is good. Should be right.
Is that like 34 out of 130?
He was at 34. This should be fine.
Yeah, I think so. It's like 40 out of 138 or something. I think.
If you want to be good at this game, get better at multiplying by 3 and or dividing by 3.
You do that quickly, you can make fast decisions.
Torrent is just... This is arguably the game where Torrent is most important. Just getting a 50% boost to your best moves is such a powerful ability. Torrent is one of the best abilities for a speedrun, honestly. It's very convenient that every starter gets Torrent Blaze Overgrowth. It's just so powerful to have a risk-reward ability and then just not care about the risk, because we're good at the game. We play it all out beforehand. Anyway, Blaine is basically a free fight. Sometimes you have to 7x speed on Growlithe to outspeed the Rapidash. But if your speed's good enough, you just surf 4 times and you win. In Torrent.
Yeah, because this is a race where you can pre-pick your Squirtle, you're almost always picking a Squirtle whose speed will outspeed the Rapidash at the very minimum.
Even for PB attempts that I do, I restrict to high enough speed to where I don't have dex speed on this fight. just X speed it. Giving Growl with a turn can be annoying sometimes.
Fire blast turn.
Yeah, so it's nice to say that. Oh, here's the most important button press in the run on main screen. Say no to Bill.
Say no to Bill. Nice.
Alright.
Run
if you say yes there, you lose 10 minutes. Because he kidnaps you and takes you to the Sebi Islands, and you can't leave until you finish that side quest. So now we do Erica, because we have Blizzard, and we're also a higher level. We put off Sabrina as long as possible. I'm not actually sure what the routing reason for that is.
Alakazam is fast and hits hard.
Yeah, but you have to speed most of the time anyway. Unless you're still slower for next speed, I can't imagine.
No, that... yeah, also you're locked... Sabrina's gym is locked behind Silph.
Oh, yeah. It's both like behind Silph. Oh, yeah, you probably want X-Rays for Silph. And also, Main hasn't been to Saffron yet, so
I'm pretty sure, like, you actually can't enter Sabrina's gym until you free the president.
Yeah, I know you can.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm just saying, like, you could do Silph Code, then Sabrina, then Erica.
Yeah,
I think you do Erica first because it lines up your candies right to get level 44 here. I think you can do Silph first. There's no spot where it's good for that.
You also do Erica first to get a higher level for the Soul Primal fight.
Yeah.
Only being level 44 introduces some ranges that would normally be guaranteed if you were at 45.
Anyway, Rare Candy in here, these Rare Candies don't actually help for Erica at all, funnily enough. There's just no... This is like the only spot where we just barely hit a level threshold, which is the best time to use a Rare Candy to maximize your experience.
Yeah, the candies are useful for the fights immediately after Erica. For Erica specifically, the candies don't actually help.
Because Main is in Torrent, he can Torrent Surf this... Not Surf. Next fight. You fight to start speed. But next fight, you can Torrent Surf the Evolved form of Bellsprout, I'm blanking.
Victory Bell.
Victory Bell, thank you. Instead of having to go full-on Blizzard.
Yeah, the fast strat here, if you're in Torrent, is to Blizzard the Vileplume. But because this is a race and Blizzard can miss, and the Giga Drain will do a lot. If you have 2 Surfs, usually you only have 1 left. But if you have 2 Surfs remaining, you can actually X Special on Tangela.
Yes.
Yeah, Main also Water Pulsed a couple of Blaine's smaller mons. Yeah, he opts for the X Special strat. Tangela you saw use Ingrain. It very much pretty heavily favors Ingrain there. Sometimes you'll use Giga Drain, and Giga Drain crit will kill, but that's very, very unlikely outcome. Much less likely than dying because you missed a bunch of blizzards.
Yeah.
So
this was just one turn over just hitting Blizzard, but it's, you know, we like safety. And I'm doing the same strat. So now, the last thing we have the option to do is Silph and Sabrina, in that order. Because we can't fight Giovanni until we've beaten every other gym. So, now we're gonna go do this.
So yeah, Ananan gave the T to the guard about half an hour ago. Main's just doing it now.
Yeah, when he bites to Surge.
Yes.
And so the consequence of that, he can just fly directly to Saffron now. This is a fun walker pass. This game, in addition to spinners, has walkers, where they walk around randomly, and if they see you, you have to fight them.
Yeah, and the sort of annoying thing about the walkers is that unlike spin cycles, their spin cycle only restarts once they finish their movement. So everything is basically offset by like half a phase.
Yeah.
By like half a phase, and so unless you do like, there are a couple options for that spinner for walker passes. One is to that one loses about, I think it's about half a second compared to the fastest but most difficult pass, which is basically react to the walker, react to the walker and run behind it. It's most difficult, but it is the fastest possible.
Yeah, but this one we get a consistent pass. Unless he chooses to walk down, then it can be a bit annoying.
Yeah,
but...
it's much easier to react around.
Yeah. The reason we paused there is specifically to give us time to react to what he just did.
Yeah.
Because everything, all their timers stop when the game is paused. Anyway, we finally used our max elixir, so we got all of our moves back. After, the last time we used any PB item was all the way back in the tunnel. Yeah, they're
oh my goodness,
on top of each other. It's crazy. You heal this fight to try to get torrent-ish HP. Double acting. So double X accuracy is a strat to just not miss Blizzard. If you miss either Blizzard on this fight, you usually die. Sometimes you live on Gyarados. And I guess Razor Leaf can miss.
You notice in the bag that Ananan still hasn't equipped his black glasses. The main reason, usually you want to equip the black glasses right after, pretty much right after picking it up. But the reason it can be good to delay it is because if you still have the Frozen Berry, Ananan's speed is low enough where he needs to X speed for Alakazam. There's no natural way for him to outspeed the Alakazam, so the best turn to X speed is on the Venomoth. Venomoth will always use Psybeam, which has a 10% chance to confuse. And if it does, well, you have to. It's important to maintain Torrent for Alakazam. So if you get confused and have no way to heal it, it can start to cause a lot of problems. So having the Prison Berry just makes that fight almost completely trivial.
Yeah. This rocket is trivial, but Giovanni, if you're in Torrent, it's a mostly free fight. You just surf everything. The only thing is that the Kangaskhan is a range, 13 and 16, I believe, on this route. And if you miss that range, it can kill you. Which is annoying.
Yeah, it pretty much has the same moveset as it did in... I think it just gets Rage as well. But... yeah, the amount of damage it does is pretty similar to how much it did in Rocket Hideout. And so if you get Fake Out, miss the range... yeah, it's like Fake Out, miss the range, Mega Punch. This Giovanni fight also has random AI, so it won't, even if you're low HP, it won't always use Mega Punch to kill you. So for the most part, fight's not super scary if you're in Torrent.
And you need Torrent for... just assume we need Torrent in general. Basically, everything from the end of Pokemon Tower all the way until Viridian Rival, we keep Torrent for.
Fake Out.
Don't miss the range. Yeah. Just plus 50%. Most of these fights, technically Torrent is not 100% required because you can get the same effect by using an X special. They both give plus 50%. At least the first X special does.
Missed the range. Fortunately, he only got tail whip, so not a big deal.
But yeah. You can achieve the same effect with using X specials, but you only have so many extra X specials, and also it's faster to not use them. So you try to force Torin for like this entire part of the game. It's just so powerful.
Sabrina fight. Find a way to outspeed Alakazam. Spam surf. Pretty straightforward fight.
If you're slower than Alakazam, you X-speed him. Other than that, surf spam. Okay, Main was having
I think he was
Main
trying to
lost the lead
decide.
because of that.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's crazy how close the race is. Oh, he's... Okay, so this
Oh,
is...
he
an
orange to X. Yeah.
Got it.
So this is kind of the safety option here is that instead of X speeding on Venomoth, is to X speed on Kadabra. The problem is that Kadabra will do more damage with Psybeam, but it won't. If you tank a Psybeam, it will almost never use a damaging move on the turn you use the X speed, or at least not right away. Future Sight can't. Future Sight does less damage than Psybeam, so and it can't crit. So
Future Sight is an interesting move. It can't crit, it can miss. The damage it does is typeless, even though it's a psychic type move. And it does the damage count instantly. It doesn't wait until it actually hits you. It does it when it first uses the move. So there's some weird things going on with that. But yeah, it's a bit slower to speed on Kadabra because of the extra text from Future Sight.
or Calm Mind.
But as a downside, you can't get crit and you can't get confused. Or rather, it's the upside. You can't get crit, you can't get confused. So. Giovanni's gym, we use Water Pulse a lot. Except for surfing and this.
Yeah, but pretty much everything is a ground type.
If
Spam
you're in
surf,
Torrent, yeah, if you're in Torrent, you just spam Water Pulse down, guys.
Yeah. Very, very uninteresting gym. Most of the time, the only reason you don't gold is because you get useless crits.
Yep. It's, the equivalent in red would be the Supreme Split.
So yeah, this would be a good time for y'all viewers to take a quick bathroom break before the gauntlet of Radiant Rival and the Elite Four.
Normally, what I do in Giovanni's gym, because I don't have to think at all, I just Water Pulse a lot, is I start preparing for Bruno. Because the way the Bruno fight works is you have to end the fight in a very specific range for Torrent. And so yeah, I'm just preparing for like, okay, what HP do I want to end the fight at? How much damage am I taking in that fight? Because if you forget to do it early and you're trying to scramble to do it as the fight's starting, it can get...
You generally will just lose time.
Yeah. so many stressful fights in a row before this, and then it's just... How long is this split? 6
5
minutes
minutes.
or something? So I
I think
think
that's
it's
5.
5 minutes of just downtime, basically.
Yeah, so right after this fight, this is where the full restore that we picked up in Safari will end up being used. You need the full HP to set up a couple X items.
And we don't need to keep Torrent for after Viridian Rifle. Because we full heal before the Elite Four. We need Torrent for 2 main fights in the Elite Four. And it's useful for a third.
And yeah, for Viridian Rival, Torrent is not necessary, and in fact, having high HP is much better. Because the fact that Torrent, in most cases where if not having Torrent is not important, you'd very much rather be at full HP to not die. Viridian Rival is one of those examples where you have to use a 93% Blizzard. Usually you have to use a 93% Blizzard on Venusaur, and your HP is set up so that you generally die to its highest damaging move, which is Break Relief. So
yeah, if your defenses are good enough, you can.
And so you know, the higher HP you have entering Venusaur, it just gives you basically a little bit extra breathing room to hit the 93% Blizzard.
There's also some situations where having enough HP to tank an Alakazam move is useful. It's not too common, but it happens.
So we'll see Ananan equipping the black glasses now. The black glasses will be semi-important in this fight. It allows us to bite the Growlithe instead of having to use Water Pulse.
Do you need it for the Rhyhorn?
I don't think so.
I mean, Rhyhorn's special defense is
especially at plus. So the fight set up 2 X-Specs, an X-Act, usually an X-Act. And you basically pray for a bunch of Feather Dances with the Jut to not take damage, but
it
almost always will use Wing Attack, and as long as it doesn't crit, you're okay with that.
Does it have Sand Attack here?
No.
But it gets it back if it can't fight. Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Did he just... Did Ananan use 3 specs?
No, I think he used a second X-Act.
Oh, I guess I missed that.
Can't really imagine a use case for a third X-Spec. Because he got Feather Dance, I think is what happened.
Right.
They're pretty much
That
in
makes
sync.
sense. Oh, no!
They
crit!
Can't believe it.
No, Ananan did go to +3.
He did go to plus. I wonder what's his play here. Double bite Gyarados?
That has to be it. Like, there's nothing else that it would help for.
Or maybe just a Raw Blizzard?
This doesn't kill, does it? Wow.
Oh, what do you know? May miss a 93% Blizzard, but
Yeah.
Gyarados doesn't do damage.
Should be able to skip speed here.
Yes, I think the rain continues.
Yeah, it'll
To Alakazam, yeah, even if you miss one. Yeah, so you get 51 for Alakazam, so I think we should be fine.
And now we just have Victory Road, which has 0 trainers. All the trainers are optional. and then the Elite Four. The Elite Four in this game is arguably it's like top 3 worst Elite Fours in Pokemon speedrunning. It's like all 5 fights are bad. Lance is the least bad, especially if you're doing double X accuracy. But,
Yeah.
like every fight is annoying.
Because we only have 2 soup. Oh, I guess Ananan went for the.
He does,
super.
yeah, he
went for
YOLOs
the
the grass after Viridian, and then
instead of a victory road, yeah, at the expense of an extra menu. So, in world record attempts, use Super Repel before Viridian Rival to save a menu, but you're risking 8 1% tiles in the beginning of Victory Road and 2 full odds tiles at the end.
Repels just don't quite last long enough.
Yeah.
For everything. And we don't have the money to buy an extra one. And also, like, isn't really worth it to buy an extra one.
Yeah. And the nice thing for Ananan too is that he now has extra steps to play with if he makes a movement mistake, whereas Main, because he's doing the kind of the aggressive repel setup.
Every extra step counts.
Yes. It makes it much more important to be tile perfect.
Which is not easy.
Especially if you're on, world record pace. Yeah, this Victory Road is just complete some strength puzzles, don't hit optionals. Yeah, all things considered, this is still a very, very close race.
This is nowhere near over. Elite Four can change everything.
Yeah.
So when we enter the Elite Four, well, before we go in, we're going to PC heal our Blastoise, which is faster than centering, and deposit both of our extra pokes. Is there any merit to taking them in if you have revives?
Most of the time, no, because you have to use X items.
Yeah.
And most of the time, if you die, you don't really have the spare X items to reset up again.
Yeah, this game you have to use a lot.
You also don't have a max revive. You also don't have a max revive, so you would need to, most of the time, you would need to sack twice to be able to heal the full, in most cases.
So yeah, we're just gonna deposit everything. The reason to deposit is it gets rid of the extra pokes in the Hall of Fame screen.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those who don't know, if you deposit a Pokemon into the PC and pull it back out, it fully heals it. So, very fast way to get a heal since we already have to use the PC anyway. And then we just buy as many 4-stores as we can. You usually need 6-ish, 5 maybe, for the Elite Four, but we have nothing else to spend the money on, so...
On average, I think you end up using like 4.
Yeah, and so like 6 would be, on the safe side. Yeah. But we have enough money for 14, 15, so... Alright, put the rat in box 14. Very important for RNG minute.
Alright,
Yep. This fight we set up 4 X specials and we bite a lot. Turn 1 hail. If you go hailless in this fight, it saves a lot of time, but it's very rare to go hailless.
Yeah. And if you see hail, if you were to pick a turn to see hail, the first 2 turns would be the ones.
Second turn is the ideal turn. If you get first turn and get frozen, you can get hailed again.
The reason you don't want it too late mainly is because like if you get it really late, the hail also ends up pelting the slow bro that comes out, which loses another like
Not
2 to 3
nice
seconds.
types. Okay, so main is going for an alternate strat where he does 2 specs, 2 bites, and then specs the rest. That makes it a little less likely to get hail. But you lose a turn.
You lose a turn, and you also generally have to heal more often.
Yeah. But he did get hailless.
Yeah. So this is, as long as he doesn't get protect from Cloister, this might be an opportunity for him to catch up a little bit.
Lapras is a 3-shot, and it uses Body Slam and Confuse Ray. Sometimes Surfer Ice kills. Yeah, unfortunately, Main's in a situation where Crit kills him from Body Slam, generally. So, we'll see if he decides to risk or not.
Crit range.
You hope for bite or flinch on, flinch or crit on Lapras. Both of which are extremely fast. Not giving Lapras turns is very good. Main is saying it does 64
Decides to heal.
It's a tough call to risk, and to risk dying to Lapras, because if you save before the fight and then die on Lapras, you reset all the way back to the start of the fight.
You have to deal with hail again.
Okay, so if he gets through this confusion, he has excellent health setup for Bruno. Nice.
That is really good, yeah.
Bruno, we want to end up at 45-ish health by the end of setting up. Variations based on defense values and HP values, but you aim for around 45 because you need to keep Torrent for this fight and Agatha. Torrent extremely important for these 2 fights.
At minimum, you need like 35, but having the extra 10 HP does make backup strats Agatha a little bit more viable. 45 is a little
start. What? And throwing. If you just expect there, he had the best ever. What is happening?
I think he only expected once. I mean,
He didn't expect any guard spec.
He didn't get Rock Tombed yet.
Yeah, I know he didn't get Rock Tomb yet, but I don't know. I guess throwing is not exactly correct. It would be more like to get Rock Tomb than Earthquake, but if he did spec on that turn,
Yeah, that was a tough position because from 70 and no speed drop, you have to set up either the speed or the guard. I think the guard spec was the correct play. Because if he gets double Rock Tomb, if he gets double Rock Tomb, that makes him get really good HP.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a misplay. I was just seeing the Earthquake made me think.
Earthquake crit is just very silly, especially if he hasn't used Rock Tomb yet.
Anyway, both of them have good HP here. I think. Is Ananan too high? No, he's fine. He's fine.
So Ananan at this point is about 20 seconds ahead. But again, you can just lose a minute at the snap of the fingers.
Agatha, we need to set up a X special and an X speed, and we need to be in Torrent. And Gengar likes to double team.
Shadow Punch does about 30. I think they both have high
Usually,
defense, so
yeah,
30.
usually it's average is probably around 31 when you have it across everything.
Yeah. If you get 2 double teams, just hit the Surf forehead.
Yeah. It can also
Turn one
turn
Shadow
Shadow Punch is interesting. That loses a turn.
Lots of Shadow Punches is safe, but it is a little bit slow.
Yeah.
So technically, he does want to see a non-crit Shadow Punch here, but this is fine.
Now we only have one double team to deal with instead of two, which is standard. Still misses.
Love Mega Kick, it returns.
And I surf on accident.
Oh
my god. Oh my god.
It's not cheap.
Well,
I am throwing.
he's at a torrent now.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're at a torrent, you have to go up to 3 specs.
Yeah, this is oh, lucky Shadow Punch anyway. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Oh, dude.
Oh, okay.
Watching Ananan is bad.
Alright, hits the surf.
Here's through.
Yep, and once you get past the first Gengar, you just spam surf, everything dies. So going up, I guess looking forward to Lance. You have Lance. You have to hit 4 or 5 blizzards. The only exact ones, those are all going to be 93%. And so yeah, if you miss a
Unless you
blizzard,
double act.
yeah, if you double act, then they're guaranteed. But if you only set up 1 act due to like heal considerations and whatnot, then it's like 4 or 5 93% blizzards, depending on the strat you go for. I think both of them will go for the safer strat, which the sort of safer strat where you don't have to deal with Gyarados range, but you do have to hit a 5th blizzard.
This
fact,
fight,
I think
a lot of
Ananan's
times you have to go
going
5
for.
5.
I think Ananan's just gonna double act.
Yeah, this is probably the best. Well, arguably the best fight to double act on because you have to hit so many blizzards.
Yep.
But it's also the least scary if you miss blizzard. So pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah, it's you have the elixir you picked up in the Pokemon Mansion. So even if you miss a blizzard, you can elixir and fight, and it's slow, but you don't like lose your run because of it. Nice fight crit, by the way.
I guess you double spec to just double blizzard Gyarados. You could do double act as well.
Yep, and Gyarados will use Hyper Beam will only use Hyper Beam or if it's at low HP.
Yeah,
It'll
it
just
can
randomly
use it
attack.
up later.
It's a little quirk in the AI, where if it's at low HP, it starts to use like more aggressive moves. It works on things like explosion, self-destruct explosion kind of moves, those recharge moves and whatnot. So
Man, you got Healus.
yeah, I think he needed it too.
Now we have Champ. Champ is a complicated fight to explain briefly, but the short version is we set up a lot of X items on Pidgeot, and then we need to hit a 93% Blizzard, otherwise we die, and then some extra stuff at the end. No Omni Boost for Ananan.
Wouldn't have mattered if you set up the +2.
Good point. I mean, it still
It would have been
lost
slow.
a good amount of time.
Would have been lost like 10 seconds. But,
I think it's more than that.
yeah, so even here, like to the very last fight, main can.
And this
still
less,
catch up.
this like 30 seconds difference or something, if that. I think it's less than 30 seconds.
As long as it's less than 25.
So you heal an elixir because you need your blizzards back. You can like almost make it through without elixiring, but it's just like you don't quite have enough moves.
Yeah. Especially if you miss a few on Agatha.
Yeah. And you need 6 blizzards anyway, like minimum. So, I mean, sometimes you can get away with 5.
So you lead with a guard spec because Pidgeot likes Sand Attack and Feather Dance.
At
Sand
high
Attack's the
HP,
more-
once you get low enough, it starts using Pidgeots more.
you very much like to see Sand Attack and Feather Dance. Again, because Torrent isn't like strictly necessary in this fight, it's one of those where that is true. At this point, not
It's very
a
hard to
whole
dodge
lot.
for both of them.
Yeah, for both of them, not a whole lot can kill the run at this point. As long as they play
But
their
they're
cards
literally
correctly.
one poke apart. So like Ananan missing Blizzard or oh my gosh, the others. Oh, the two.
Yeah, two points apart.
I always forget about Rhydon. It's such a nothing move. Alright, this Blizzard will basically
70%. Wow,
Andy hits
that's a GG's for Ananan. Can't lose from here.
Yep.
That's the thrash. You might as well heal it. Oh wow, he goes for it.
That do extreme speed crit here. ACL. He just wants to finish the run.
Yeah. I think at this point he realized he was a little too far behind. That's okay. They both played. Wow, gets flamethrower anyway.
That misplay on Agatha. That could have been the difference.
Also,
Of course, it's also a 2-hour run. There are a million things that could have went.
yeah, this was a very close run till the very, very end.
You always like to think about specific things. That was a very well played run. Both of them getting sub 208. That was not easy.
Yes.
Time is going to be on the Fade to Black here, by the way. So on Anan's screen, once it fades to black. And time.
206.53.
Well, yeah. That one person. And
Time for main. So 206.53, 207.23, I think is what it was. Both very, very good times.
Good nothing close, I guess. I don't know.
I was close the entire run.
That was
That's-
a sick race.
yeah. GG's.
Yeah, I threw a lot, honestly, but I don't know. I was watching Ananan and I just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I played really safe in some, like, I did some saves that were, like, overly safe, just because I didn't want to DNF. I mean, I probably shouldn't have, but I think that's the most I've ever saved in a race, so. But it's
No,
okay.
it was well run. You had a scary surge, but it worked out well.
Yeah, I mean, I lost time on Pogo was obviously not good. Sabrina, I mean, it was weird. It was like, I mean,
Into toxic.
that was, yeah, I mean, that, or I guess that was good. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, Erica was, or not. Erica was, or not Erica. I realized I had the Oranberry for Kadabra. That's why, I don't know, I like got stuck there. Never done that before.
There can be some weird lag sometimes.
My Bruno was terrible. I mean, I went to +5 because I got double luck to miss in a row, and then yeah, that was not great.
+5.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
that's
plus.
unfortunate.
so many turns there. I was at good health, but I just like +2, and then I speeded, and I had taken no damage after speeding. So I was just guard spec and then spam X spec. Yeah, it was that was bad.
I don't know, I'm not gonna complain about my run. Like, my early game was, I don't know, trash as always. It wasn't a 16 Brock, but it was a 15-16 Brock. with
my early
with
game
that
was pretty
forest,
good.
like, I cannot
level
complain that I
5.
actually survived.
I saw,
got it,
yeah,
you
it's like
got it.
I literally summoned that level 5 Pikachu. I'm like,
It, like,
there's
literally.
always a very slim chance it can just die in forest. for no
Yeah.
reason.
I got one Thunder Shock, but I got double growl on turn 4. I just
Yeah.
was able to escape.
And you were only level 6.
Yeah,
So even harder to run away.
it was pretty close. Could have ended right there. Not like not ended, but I could have lost like, I don't know, 3 more minutes than I already lost. But I don't know, worked out. The Martha fight, like, I don't know, what can you do? Get slapped. I literally played it safe in Super Potion because I didn't want to risk the one in, I think it was like a 50-50 Razor Leaf. Then I miss again and just get Razor Leaf crit. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you had a Martha, that's for sure. You could not hit kick.
I was
like 6.
it was 6 kick misses, yeah. Out of the, how many did I use? 5, 6, 9, 14 kicks, I think I used in total. So, I don't know, 75% is, sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's just omega wrong. But, I don't know. It's just a game. It's what you have to deal with when you run FireRed LeafGreen. It's just garbage move. Deal with it. I don't know.
Yeah, my first half was really good. I mean, I was like on pace with my race PB after I did chop split, but the rest of the run was just really bad. I mean, I also execution was not great in some parts, but I mean, I saved for Lavender Rival, doing 5 kicks and doing, I don't know. I just in the back of my mind, I was just worried that I wouldn't be able to finish. You know?
Yeah, it's like always scary having to kick and then you, I don't know, miss an Ivysaur, get like, I don't know, Razor Leaf crit or whatever, just die.
Like, I got fake out into Kadabra range, and then yeah, I was like, had the Oranberry and still do it. Cause I was like, I'm just not gonna do it on Venomoth, even if it's fine to do it on Venomoth. I just don't want to take that risk, you know, dying. But I got Hailless. I went for Pokeguy strats, but yeah, my Geo was just really miserably bad.
Yeah, it happens. It was still a close race though, like, looking at the race time, we were like 8 seconds apart from each other at the end, including the 25 seconds.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, it was pretty sick to watch, I think. I hope at least.
Yeah, no, that was a great race.
We both got turn 1 Shadow Punch, although I
Yeah.
perfed like an idiot.
Yeah.
I was just mashing, like watching you and mashing.
Yeah, that happens.
But-
I've done the same before. It happens.
There was a fun moment on Viridian Rival where both of you were synced to the frame, and then main crit, so he fell
I'm like-
behind.
Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of the Viridian Rival strat, +3 god item for that fight. Because one thing is, Gyarados is pretty much guaranteed. It's like a 14 and 16 with 31 special attack, and 12 and 16 with 30.
Did you save on Champ, by the way?
Yeah, I did.
You didn't save on Lance though.
Nah, I did. I did like
saved on
Omega
Viridian
safety
Rival.
safety strats for that fight. I figured something out that
yeah.
works.
I don't know. I probably shouldn't have saved. Well, I don't know.
Got really lucky with the bite spam though. Like, that literally could have been Elis with +2 spec, +2 X accuracies. no flinches. I just got like bite spam.
Alright,
One of the
guys.
crits tried to heal.
Oh no problem. You can finish your thought. It's all right,
main,
guys.
Main basically. Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh no problem. Yeah, honestly, that was
I was gonna say
crazy.
that main basically got double heal-less for Lance Champ.
Yeah, honestly, that was
I wanted to
crazy.
risk the crit at the end, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I healed there, you know, and then I don't think I've ever seen flamethrower there. It's weird, but
It's. Were you modest?
still there. How much does it do?
Something never happened, modest.
Extreme speed normally does more than flamethrower, which is why it uses extreme speed most of the time. But if it pseudo rolls flamethrower as higher, it'll use it.
Yeah, the race in general was just a massive nail biter. It was cool seeing how you guys' route deviated kind of around the middle of the game, and then you guys kind of started to meet up around that time. And yeah, the end was extremely tense, extremely hype. I think you guys both performed very, very well. The actual time, yeah, that was 2:07:36 for Ananan and 2:07:44 for main. I apologize for the timer issues. I kind of just had to throw the layout together to kind of adapt it to the fact that it was now a two-person race, so things got jumbled up. I appreciate you guys being patient for that. But yeah, you guys did amazing. Thank you so much for showcasing your skills in this game for us. You guys have any last things you want to shout out or anything like that before we transition to the bonus run?
I just shout out to Speed Gaming for hosting this.
Agreed. Well, also the race Discord. I mean, we do a tournament every year with these kind of races. Maybe if someone has if you're interested in watching or getting into it, yeah.
Yeah, FireRed is a very, very active category. You'll see a lot of people running this. So if you liked it, there's a lot more to watch.
Absolutely, yeah. And if anybody has the link on hand, feel free to post the Discord link in chat for anybody who's interested. Definitely big thanks to you guys for coming out and being a part of the event. We're more than happy to have you, and we hope to have you again at some point soon as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started to transition over to our bonus run here. Once again, thank you to everybody involved. You guys also did great on commentary. Just wanted to let you guys know as well.
Thank you.
Big thanks, big thanks. All right, so I'll go ahead and get us transitioned to set up.
It does have an effect if you knock out all the cranes. You don't need to take out the guards in front of the room because they all go to investigate the broken cranes. But it is